Hello. Good morning. We're live. Sweet. Oh, it's not morning anymore. It's the afternoon. So I'm doing a quick workshop on 3 ways to connect to yourself and the earth this spring. For those of you who don't know me, I am Kristen. I am the founder of Logum Body Co. And Logum is much more than just skincare. For me, it's kind of an extension of my perspectives and beliefs about living a very full life, a radiant life, and living aligned in mind, body, spirit. So I wanted to take a moment today to share with you a little bit about the ways that I like to connect with myself as the seasons change, especially here, changing from winter into spring. And before we get started, it doesn't look like there's anyone here yet, but if you are, I just want to give you a heads up. We are on Facebook Live. I think the best browser to watch this from is either going to be Chrome or Safari if you're on your browser, or from the Facebook native app. So wherever you're watching from, if you have any trouble hearing or it doesn't seem to be coming in clear, try one of those different browsers. And that should clear it up for you. So I am super excited to be chatting with you. I am this is now the third week of my new program called Life in Bloom, and I'm working with 5 women right now, and we're talking about this week self-awareness and self-inquiry. Last week was all about body and skincare, and then the week before that was all about plant medicine, which is the topic of my call today. So one of the biggest things that I hear from clients that I work with and people that take my workshops is that you're really tired. You just don't have the energy to do the things that you want to do every day after work. You're just exhausted. You aren't really feeling fulfilled by the job that you have. You're kind of like going in and day out. You're kind of just sick of like the office politics. You're tired of the commute. You're just want to do something different, whether that's looking for a new job, reigniting your passion and hobbies that you used to have a long time ago, or simply starting your own business. Well, not simply, because it's not that easy, but sometimes, life calls in these different radical shifts, and it doesn't always mean that you have to like pick up and leave and quit everything. Sometimes it's literally just shifting your mindset a little bit and pursuing a different mindset or a completely different life. Everyone's different. So let me drink some coffee. I haven't been drinking a lot of coffee this spring, but I've been drinking a lot of matcha lattes, which have been amazing. So yeah, why don't we just dive in? There are so many different ways to connect with yourself during seasonal shifts. And one of my absolute favorite things to do is literally, I'm looking outside right now at all the different shades of colors that I see. I see bright green, I see dark green. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so we have a lot of evergreens and spruces and Doug firs. Our neighbor has a Doug fir. We've got some spruce in our yard. People behind us have a Japanese maple, which is amazing. But the point is, slowing down and really just enjoying the sights. And we've had a long winter, but we've also had a pretty long spring here in the Pacific Northwest. Our spring is a bit longer and starts earlier than a lot of places. So depending on where you are in the world, it might still feel like winter. There might still be snow on the ground. I know I'm from the Midwest. My family had some snow like a couple weeks ago in April. So, that's not super unusual, but it can kind of put a damper into your mood and doesn't really help with that whole feeling blah and just tired and having no energy. So one of the really simple things that I encourage all of my clients and workshop attendees to do is get outside. Get outside. Literally take, 5-10 minutes of your day to get outside. Put your feet in the earth if you can. If not, just go on a walk. Literally take a walk around the block. You don't need to live in some fancy place that's, with tons of parks. Like literally just walking down the sidewalk and seeing what plants are popping up. You don't need to know what they are or what plants are coming up or what plants are native to your area. You literally can just look around and then look for those signs of new life and new beginnings. And that can really just connect you to the earth. It can reconnect you to yourself. It can just ground you in the moment and show you and inspire you that, winter is almost gone and the shifts are happening. So that is one of my ways that I like to just connect with myself in springtime. I like to do that all times of years, but definitely in spring, it's a good one. If you have any questions, I'm going to be answering questions live as well. So I would love if you could leave me a comment. If you're watching this after the broadcast and this is not happening live anymore, leave me a comment anyway, and I will get back to you in the comments and we can keep our discussion going. So the second way to connect with yourself and the earth is to move. And I touched on that a little bit already, but moving your body and gently moving with the season, especially in spring. So gentle movement is the thing of spring. It's what we celebrate most. Everything is gently reawakening from a long slumber, and our bodies are doing the same thing. So we're getting more energy, we're getting outside more, we're seeing more light, we're probably having trouble sleeping a little bit. I might be dealing with some insomnia. But just like the earth is starting to kind of stretch and wake up, your body is wanting the same kind of thing. So whether you work a desk job and you're sitting most of the day, or you have kids and you're a stay-at-home mom, no matter what, if you have your own business, it doesn't really matter what your lifestyle is. It just matters that you reconnect with your body and yourself and get moving in spring. And it doesn't need to be anything intense. It doesn't need to be a whole 30-day body transformation, high intensity kind of thing. What I'm talking about here is just gentle movement. So in the morning, before you hop in the shower, doing some really good stretches, stretching up and stretching your side body. We were talking about this in I do some really nice bonus calls in Life in Bloom with some of my friends and colleagues and other people in the healing space. And that was one of the stretches that we talked about, that we don't generally tend to stretch our sides. We're usually just, bending forward or bending backward. But really, our sides really need good stretches every day. So that's a really easy thing to do. Going on walks around the block, like I mentioned, that's a great way to just get your blood pumping. And I think we live in a very rushed society where we're always in a hurry. We always want to get from A to B. We're always in a rush. But what if we just stopped and slowed down and just enjoyed the actual movement as opposed to getting from A to B? I was having a discussion with one of my classmates in my clinical herbalism school, and we were talking about this idea of the journey. How the journey is really the whole point. Getting from the start to finish is, if you're running a race, you start at the beginning and then you end at the end, obviously. But what about the whole thing that happens in between? And she was kind of like, well, what is the point of that? Everyone's always saying that the journey is the reason for doing anything. I don't really get why that is a thing. And to me, it's really an opportunity for us to slow down, live more in attunement with what's really happening, in our internal self. What are we thinking? What are we experiencing? What are the lessons that we're learning when we do things more slowly and we allow our own perspective to come through and we think about what's important to us and what we're learning. So just because I suggest going on a walk as something that you do for some gentle movement in spring, that doesn't mean that you need to haul and do a super fast walk and get, all your friends out and do it together. It's more of just experiencing what it's like to feel your blood increase, your blood movement increase, and just feeling that oxygen getting to the rest of your body and getting to your mind. And, stepping back into your house after your walk and feeling refreshed and making time for yourself. I think that movement for a lot of people is just something that they assign to themselves to do an hour in the gym every day. But what I would like to encourage you to think about when it comes to gentle movement in spring is, how can you infuse that gentle, slower movement that it might not get you the results of like losing weight as the end result, but instead it gives you this opportunity to connect with the earth. It gives you the opportunity to slow down. It gives you the opportunity to just be in the moment in spring. And like I said in the very beginning of this call, like actually looking at what plants are growing and connecting with earth in that way. So I see we have some live viewers. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining this class. I'm doing a free workshop on the 3 different ways that you can connect with yourself and the earth in spring. So there's a couple different themes that I'm going through. I've already gone through the first 2. So the first one was connecting with different plants. And that's literally just going outside, seeing what's growing, seeing what is happening. Like you can also use this as an opportunity to start growing your own plants and paying attention to your garden. And then the second way to connect with yourself and your body and the earth is going or embracing gentle movement. And the whole point of that is literally just like slow down and enjoy the journey. You don't have to be always in a rush to get somewhere. You can just go on a slow walk. I like to go on walks in the morning before I start my day. I don't do it every morning because sometimes my days are always different and I've always got a lot going on. So it's usually either in the morning before I get started with this, or I get started with other work, or I do it at the end of my day. And I just love it as a way to wake up the body and, you know, participate in the life that's happening around me. And sometimes I take my phone, and that's usually just so I can take pictures of like, you know, the plants that I see, which is really fun. But I use it as an opportunity to just like connect with myself. I get a lot of good ideas on walks. The other place I get really good ideas is when I'm blow drying my hair. Both makes sense with the walk, but the hair drying thing I don't understand, but it is true. But yeah, I would just say like no matter how busy you are, no matter how tired you are, no matter how much you want to just like sleep or go to bed or sleep in that extra like 10 minutes, I would say I invite you to push yourself to get up and get out of bed a little bit early, start your day off with a little bit of sunshine and earth medicine, and just enjoy the nature's medicine of spring. Yeah, so I see there are a couple people here. I would love it if you have any questions about any of this that I'm talking about, or you know, you want any feedback on something that you might be doing. Yeah, I'm really excited today. It's this whole week, actually, we're supposed to have like 70 and 80 degree weather, which is pretty unusual for the Pacific Northwest, but it's beautiful today. Bright blue sky. I don't see a single cloud, which is pretty interesting for this time of year. But like I said, it's nice. And I've got tons of plants, medicinal plants growing in my yard just by chance. Like I did not plant these medicinal herbs and native plants in my yard. They're like, some of them are just kind of common, like the dandelion, which is very medicinal and very revered in the herbalism world. I know for a lot of people it's a complete nuisance, but it's actually a very healing plant. In my yard, I also have purple dead nettle, also good for the skin. I've heard that it's also been used for respiratory issues. I don't have any in here at the moment, otherwise I would show you. But then I also have cleavers. I'm working on a chickweed infused oil, so this is a really fun thing to do with your plant medicine if you want to delve more into plant medicine. That's one of my things. That's why I have a skincare line, because I love to infuse oils with plants and then put them into healing remedies like salves and balms and whatnot. So I'm making, yes, a fresh chickweed infused oil. I'm also working on tinctures. This is another, going on a tangent, but I'm okay with that. Ashwagandha, this is a lot. This is a huge tincture that I'm putting together. But essentially it's just alcohol and water and then your dried or fresh plant material, and then you let it sit for 2 weeks and then you strain it out, and then what you have left over is the tinctures. And usually this is something that you find at the store, and they're usually like $10 or $12 or whatever. And I bought all this probably for half that. And I'm going to get significantly more. I don't know exactly how much this will result in, but it'll probably be like 15 ounces. And usually they sell them for, you know, $10 for like 1 ounce. And it's super, 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 super easy and really fun. So that's one way that you can incorporate plants into your cooking as well. Like spring plants, you can grab some chickweed and you can put that into a vinegar. And it's really, I promise, it's so easy. You literally just take a jar, you put your fresh plant material in it, and then you put your vinegar on top of it, and that's it. And then you cover it and let it sit for 2 weeks. That's pretty much like everything in herbalism, that's what that is. Like any kind of extraction generally is you cover the plant material with oil or vinegar, alcohol, glycerin, or water, like an infusion, and that is your medicine. And there's different ways to extract the medicine of different plants depending on if it's the root, the leaf, if it's fresh or dried. But that's something that I am really passionate about and I find really exciting because I am in clinical herbalism school. So that's my thing. And it's not everybody's thing, but cool. Well, I still have a little bit more that I want to talk about, but I see that there's a couple people here. So if you do have any questions that are coming up and you want to hear more, I am talking specifically about ways to connect to yourself and the earth this spring. I know, the people that I'm working with in my workshop right now generally are telling me like, I don't have enough time like for myself after, work. So what I really love to do is just teach people the tools and the mindset shifts that it requires to create the life that you want to create. So Log on Body Co, part of it is this like plant medicine skincare, and then the other part of it is like education, transformational mindset shift kind of stuff, so that you can create the life that you want and feel really healthy and vital and radiant in life. So I think that's key. Like for the reason why I'm so passionate about health and wellness and teaching others about taking control of their own health and wellness is because the better you feel, the more easy it is for you to follow your passions and be able to live out the life that you want to. I know that's not always feasible for everybody, depending on what health stuff you have going on. But I still believe that, with simple mindset shifts and looking at things differently, that you really can unlock a lot of your own power that for a long time potentially was given away to someone else. So it's all about like reclaiming your power, reclaiming your own inner and outer radiance, and skincare is part of that. But a lot of it is these healthy mindset shifts and using the seasons to guide you on how to embrace your natural way of being. So that's what I'm really excited right now. If you have any ideas or if you agree with any of that, give the video a thumbs up. I'm like super excited. I'm really trying to do more videos in general because I do a lot of writing, but getting behind video is really fun because there's just so much more to express, and it's easier to express how I feel, I think, and how excited I get about things. So yeah, okay, perfect. So I'm gonna continue on. I just have one more thing that I want to go over. Thanks for the like. Okay, so setting intentions for spring, kind of going off what I was just saying about, like, I really do believe that we all have the power to create the life that we want to live. It just kind of takes, it takes it's not even skill. It takes a little bit of practice and an open mind, an open heart to really be open to what is possible in life. And something that really frustrates me as someone who knows a lot of people, that's really vague, but I know a lot of people who are amazing and have all these talents and skills, but for whatever reason, they hit these specific mindsets that limit them, that limit their ability to do what they want to do in life. And so it's not always health. Sometimes it really is just your perspective on something, like, oh, I couldn't do that, or I don't have enough money for that, or something that people used to always say to me is like, how do you afford travel? Like, I could never do that. And that's a whole other conversation, but what it really comes down to is being able to be very intentional about what it is that you want out of life, and also taking care of yourself. So when you feel what I found, especially working through the clinical herbalism school that I'm going to here in Portland, is that generally people don't realize like just how good they can feel, and that they're really blown away when they realize like I can actually feel 100 times better than I do right now. And the way that I feel now, I thought was normal. So part of what I want to do is help people kind of shake up their mindset and shake up the way that they see their health and the way that they feel in their life. I know for me, one of my favorite things is just like noticing how, or one of my favorite tips is thinking about, or not thinking, but looking and taking note of when I eat specific foods, how that makes me feel, how I respond to those foods, what I can do to avoid them. There's this whole thing in our culture that is basically if you're allergic to something, then you just take medication to deal with that allergy. And obviously there are some allergies that are literally deadly. So I'm not talking about that. But what I'm talking about here more is our bodies are very intelligent, and we sometimes can over-medicate our bodies, which are, again, naturally intelligent with what they know to do. So if your body is responding with inflammation and you have like gut issues, and a lot of people think that's normal, and I'm just going to tell you that it's not. It's normal for a lot of people, but that's not the natural way the body wants to be. And so we have been working with different clients through class, and some people have IBS, and some of them realize like this is not a normal way of living. And then there's other ones that realize like, or don't realize, I suppose, that they're like, oh, this is just the way things are. Like, this is just the way my life is going to be forever. And that's what I love about herbalism, is that there's so many alternative ways to approach the natural way of healing the body and the gut. And so once you're able to kind of look at your health and your life as something that you can modify to your liking, as opposed to just kind of taking in what's happening in life, that you really do have the ability. It makes me think of like you're in a canoe and you're going down the river, and the current is pushing you in one way when you realize, and you don't realize that you have a rudder, like you don't have something to actually adjust where you're going. You're just literally going with the flow of life, which is good. But when it's going in a direction you don't want it to, that's not good. So that's another whole aspect. So when I talk about like mind, body, spirit alignment, that's what I'm talking about. And so that is like the spirit alignment, I suppose. To me, it's more the mind. Like the mind is so powerful, and what we perceive about life is very much how like we live out our life, and also our mind impacts our body and our gut impacts our mind. Like it is all connected. So that's really important for me to talk about with people, because I think that, yeah, if you have the ability to see clearly and feel really great, that you can really navigate your life the way that you want to. So all that to be said, the third tip to go more into like the nitty-gritty of that is like setting intentions of what you want out of life. So I've done this plenty of times, and I do it for all different situations. And literally it's not necessarily like a wish list of what you want out of life. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not like, oh, I want this to happen, so I'm just going to sit and hope it happens. It's more like, okay, if I want to be feeling healthy, like what does that look like? I know that I'm allergic to, or I have a bad reaction to dairy, so I'm going to cut out dairy for a little while so I can just give my body a rest. Maybe it's something like you want to shift your job or what you're doing in your job site. Like maybe it's, oh, I want to go back to school. I want to start exploring my opportunities for getting my master's, or going back and finishing my bachelor's degree, or going and getting something completely different. I think sometimes we hit these stages in life where we feel that there's a need for a shift, but we don't exactly know how to go about navigating that. And I think that setting intentions is a really powerful and very, very simple way to adjust and kind of modify the way that you're living your life. So if you're going to a job that you hate, and you know what you would rather be doing, let's say you're in marketing and you don't like where you work, but you like the work that you're doing, then you can start setting an intention and say like, okay, I really want to work at a company that values, and then list out those values. And then you can start looking. And then it's not necessarily like woo-woo and like the universe giving you, like a lot of people talk about intentions as the universe like providing to you what you ask for. To me, the way that I have used this is a much more, I am a little woo in some ways, but in a lot of ways it's like, all right, this is a way for me to problem solve my life. And it's a way for me to look at this in the big picture. So bring this all back into spring. Like spring is a time of reawakening. It's a time of experiencing shifts in mind, body, spirit, life, relationships, work. There's things coming up for everybody, and it happens all the time, but spring tends to be the time where people really are starting to notice that things are either not working for them, or that they need to change, or things just need to have a shift. So I encourage you to keep an eye on those things. Like when something comes up in your mind of not working, or you want to try this thing, I think that we're all drawn to certain things because we're passionate about it. So for me, for example, I've worked in marketing for 8 years, and I started to be drawn to herbalism, to clinical herbalism. And so now I'm in my 2nd year of clinical herbalism while I'm still kind of like in that world of marketing. So I am forging this new path, and I forged this new path through my own kind of desire and interests and passions. And I didn't know that there was an opportunity for me to do clinical herbalism school. I didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know that I knew there was a lot of like online courses, but it's one of those things that sometimes something needs to change, but you don't know how it's going to change, or like what needs to change, and it can be really confusing. So I think that what I have seen work really well for me and for other people is, like I said, setting those intentions and just saying, I want something to change. Like this needs to change. Here's where I feel would be the most effective place for this to be shifted. And sometimes it is relationships. Sometimes you need to leave a relationship. Sometimes you want to call in a new relationship. Sometimes it's adjusting your diet. Sometimes it's trying something new, whether that's going to travel by yourself, or it's trying a new plant medicine and meeting new people, following some different passions. So there's a lot of different ways that this can show up for you in your life, but I would just encourage you to, like I said, just start paying attention to what is growing around you. I encourage the gentle movement and getting outside and seeing what's growing. See what comes up for you. Like things will start to come up. That's just kind of what happens when you start to move the body more. And when you start to notice these things coming up for you, write them down. Write them down on a notebook, or just anywhere that you will see these things more frequently, and just give yourself an opportunity to see things differently and be open to things shifting a little bit for your highest good, for whatever is best for you. Like I really believe that we are drawn to things because we are, we have some connection to it, whatever it is. So if you start to notice things and you're excited about things that you don't know why, it's like you start getting excited about pottery, like go take a pottery class. You get excited about natural skincare, like talk to me and we can talk about plant medicine. Maybe you get excited about like hiking and camping, but you've never done it before. Like put it on your list of things to do for this year or next year. So yeah, it's kind of like goal setting, but it's kind of just like putting the intention out there. So that is definitely part of the whole mind, body, spirit aspect that I see as an important foundation to a vibrant, radiant life. And it's something that I have used in my life that has worked really well. I've used it with clients as well, and it's worked really well. So before we go, I see that there's still some people hanging out, and I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, just pop them into the comments now. If you're watching this later, you can do the same thing. Leave me a comment, and I would be happy to get back to you, whether you want to know more about intention setting, if you want to learn more about plants, you want to learn more about me and like what I've got going on. let me know. I did want to quickly talk about Life in Bloom, which is a transformational workshop that I am leading right now. It's really the only way to work with me beyond skincare right now. I am in clinical herbalism school, and I'll be able to start seeing clients at the end of this year on a more consistent basis. But right now, the easiest way to really work with me on the mind, body, spirit alignment is through this workshop. So Life in Bloom essentially is a 3-week class where it's a very small group of women. Right now I've got 5 women in the class, and we talk about this very similar theme. So the first week is all about spring plant medicine, and we're talking about like what's growing in your backyard or what might be. The second week is all about body and skin health. And then the last week is all about self-inquiry, self-care. We do a lot of bonus calls. Last week I was hanging out with my friend Danielle, who owns a yoga studio, and she's a yoga instructor here in Washington. So I was at her studio. We did a bonus call based on the questions that we were getting from the women in class, which was amazing. And yeah, so this class is just about ending up, and then I'm going to be starting another spring cohort that is all around spring medicine for the Life in Bloom. If you want to learn more about exactly what that is, there's a link in the video description that you're looking at, so you can check that out. I also wanted to quickly, I don't know if I can do this on here. I wanted to try to share my screen, but I don't think I can. So anyway, I'm going to pull that. I can't share my screen, unfortunately, but I'm going to just share a little bit more about Life in Bloom and what exactly we have going on. So Life in Bloom is really going to be an ideal thing for someone who is going through those major life shifts that wants to claim back their power and claim back what you deserve. And I think, like I said, what has worked really well for myself and other people is this empowerment, like realizing that you have a choice, because you do. You have a choice about how you live your life. You have a choice about what you do. You have a choice about where you spend your money. You have a choice about how healthy and how amazing you want to feel. And chances are that you feel probably pretty good right now, but what if I told you could feel even better? Because that's possible. And I've seen it with, clients that we work with at my school. So yeah, the first week we talk about the body and encouraging lymph movement and digestive, stoking the digestive fire through bitters. All these things that are kind of getting popular right now. Herbalism is definitely having a resurgence, and it's you'll find a lot of bitters on the shelves now at stores, but we'll talk about those. Bitter plants and bitter herbs are actually generally very medicinal plants that you don't necessarily have to buy a tincture of bitters. There are other bitters that you can use in your actual food that also count as bitters. So we've got that going on. How to approach seasonal allergies with holistic herbalism. So I deal with some pretty gnarly allergies this time of year, and I know a lot of other people do too. So we talk about that. Week 2 is, like I said, it's all about skin and body health, specifically for spring. So we talk about what's going on in the body, and kind of your skin is the largest organ of elimination. So it's going to be literally showing you what is going on internally. So I talk a little bit about what to look for and what you can do to address that. Whatever you have going on. It's not super, super in-depth, but it's enough to give you an idea of, if I'm breaking out after I eat dairy, that I should probably, do some experimentation and see if I can change that and clear up my skin. We talk about how to eat seasonally. So that is a really important topic and thing to do to really improve your health and the radiance of the food that you're intaking, because you literally are what you eat. It's so funny because we hear this our whole lives, but you are the food that you eat is digested by your body to create cells to keep your body going. Literally you are what you eat. So that's really important. And then week 2, I also share a few of my favorite recipes for natural skin health. So we've got some bath salts, we've got a scrub, a mask, some fun stuff. And then the last week is all about shifting and creating life by setting intentions, a little bit about what we just talked about. how to start looking inward for answers again. I know that a lot of folks that I work with talk about how difficult it can feel to kind of like reconnect with themselves and reconnect with their own passions and intentions of like what they actually want out of life. We live in a society that's very dominant and is very like, you should do it this way. But you don't have to do it that way. You can do it the way, any way you want. Like, and so sometimes in life, our own voices get diminished and we don't hear them. It's a small little voice, but it's there. And so the third week, we talk about that as well, about how to start listening to that voice again and how to like embrace our voice, even if it's small. We also talk about the power of saying no and developing healthy boundaries, and then developing personal daily rituals for deeper connection to self. So it all kind of ties in together with that theme of like gentle movement, gentle embracing of the seasons. And that's what we have going on. A couple other things. So every week in Life in Bloom, participants get an actual like guidebook for the week. And total, I think they're all together about 100 pages of content. So it's a couple parts of like educational, informational content. Then there's some journal prompts and opportunities to slow down. There's recipes for lots of different things. And it, so not only that, but there's also a welcome kit and there's an herbal resource guide that you get that has my recommendations of like books and where to source herbs and all of that good stuff. And then what's a little bit different from the last Life in Bloom class that I'm teaching right now, this second one that I'm doing starting in May is going to be different in the sense that I'm going to be offering 2 additional like goodies as a part of the enrollment process. So if you sign up for Life in Bloom for the second cohort that starts on May 8th, you're going to get a complimentary wellness consult with me. So we'll go over your health goals and put them, we'll just discuss your health goals and figure out what it is exactly that you're aiming for. We'll tie in a little bit of overall like life goals, and then we'll talk about intentions. So that's something that I haven't done with this first group, but I'm going to start doing those now. And then there will also be, it can either be as a part of the consult or at a different time, it doesn't really matter, but a skincare consult. So essentially what we'll do is not only go over your skin or your health in general, but we'll go over your skincare and kind of look at what is going on with your skin and what kind of symptoms your skin is giving us in terms of your inner health and how we can start to balance that out. And we can balance it internally by what you're eating, any supplements that you're taking, any plants and herbs. I take nettle every day for skin, nail, hair health. This is like the longest my hair has ever been and like the healthiest it's ever been since I've been taking nettle tea, and I drink a lot of it. Well, there's lots of different ways that we can approach that, and every single person is different. So this is like a personal consult, personalized, customized to you. We'll go over your skin in addition to that. And then there's also another element of the skin consult where I can actually create a custom to you facial oil and facial tonic. So I have, and I can also recommend the products that I have here, but I can literally make something personalized to you if you're interested. So that is what is going on. You'll also get 10% off of all of Log On products and lifetime access to all the materials. And we have an awesome Facebook group where everybody can connect. So I see that there's still people hanging out with me. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you've enjoyed this or like resonated with this class at all, I would love it if you could give it a thumbs up or a heart or like some kind of reaction. Hopefully not a sad reaction. But yeah, before we hop off, we've been on here about 40 minutes, but I would really love to take this time to continue conversation with you. If you have any comments or questions, like just pop them into the comment section now. If anything comes up after the fact, feel free to come back to this video. I'm going to post it on the page and you can leave me a comment here. If you are interested in taking Life in Bloom with us, it is going to be a very small group of women. I only generally tend to work with about 10 people or less. So if you're feeling called or resonating with any of what I am sharing with you today, I would definitely love to hear more from you and have you enroll in what we have going on over at Life in Bloom. The link to find out more of like everything that's going on with Life in Bloom is in the description of this video. If you don't see it for some reason, it's logombody.co/pages/life-in-bloom. And you can also go to logombody.co, and Life in Bloom is at the very top, and you can just click on that, and that will give you everything you need to know. Heads up that we do start on May 8th, and then enrollment closes on May 6th, which is a Sunday. So we start on like all the classes go out on Tuesdays, and that just gives people a good buffer to like start their week and then jump into it on Tuesday, and then they're not like completely bogged down with stuff by the end of the week or halfway into their weekend, because I know that happens with me. I'm like, oh, it's Friday, I have nothing to do. It's like I have all these things to do. But yeah, so things go out on Tuesdays. Oh, hey, Lily. Yes. So this will be posted after, and you are welcome to come back and watch the beginning of it. We essentially were just talking about 3 ways to connect to yourself and the earth this spring. So that's my jam. I definitely went on a little bit of not a rant, but I love talking about setting intentions and mindset shifts and whatnot. So that's a big part of the work that I do alongside plant medicine, herbalism, and yeah, really, I think my biggest thing is really helping people understand that you have a choice in life, and you have a choice of how good you feel most of the time. I know some things happen, if you get the flu or you have some kind of chronic disease, like that doesn't always mean that you feel great, but there are definitely ways to address and work with those kinds of situations. So yeah. Like I said, if you're interested further, let's see if I can pop this in the comments. If you're interested further in learning more, there is the link in the comments. And yeah. Oh, last final thing is that if you do sign up before, I think it's the 29th, let me double check this before I make promises. Yes, if you sign up before April 29th, you will save $100 on enrollment. So yeah, if you're interested and you want to participate, I would love to have you. If you have any questions and you want to learn more about my process or what I do other than these things, and yeah, you just want to connect, I am always down to get on the phone with you and chat, or send me an email and we can discuss further. So I have had a blast today, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. And really, if you don't take anything else from this video except how to connect with yourself and the earth during spring, like I have done my job. So I hope you have a beautiful day. It is 1:15 here. I am going to step outside. It is still beautiful and blue skies and sunny. And so I'm definitely going to embrace that, get that vitamin D. So, all right. Well, I will talk with you all soon, and thank you again. Bye.